Hi, this is Antoinette again, and this dream is it's a short dream, and it has to do, well, I'd say I had this dream about, I'd say I was probably, well, trying to think, maybe in my 30s. I'm trying to think where I was living. I've lived in like different states. But just trying to think how long ago. It's been a while. Well, anyway, I believe that this could be a futuristic dream. But I was somebody else in the dream, as I later discovered. Okay? Now, I was in possibly what looked like sort of a Midwest town, like a small Midwestern town. It was a very small town, I would say, where like if the road went through that town or a highway, it was just a small town. I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 residents. That's just kind of what I gather by what the main town looked like. And I don't know where it was, but in the dream, there was like some people, like I'm in the town area and it's daytime. And there is like at least a couple of people, possibly 3, but definitely a couple of people. And I knew that they were like they would probably like kill somebody to eat them. And no, it wasn't like if they were walking around like zombies or anything like that, but something was the matter with them. Definitely there was some lack of food, okay, obviously, and people were skinny, and I saw them, like I kind of saw them like by a building, like, I don't know, half a block away or something. And I kind of like knew that I needed to stay away from them. It looked like possibly a couple of men or something. But like I say, they weren't like in a, like the way you'd see zombie movies or anything like that. But something was wrong other than like, there was a lack of food, obviously. And they were like kind of like messed up people. I later learned, I'm just going to throw this in like, in parentheses, that later on after that dream, I remember I got bored and this was before high-speed internet. Because I would like got bored and picked out a encyclopedia and I just started reading, so I could go to sleep. Well, anyway, I was reading about radiation, and the effects of radiation. They've done a lot of tests on radiation on people, trust me. So it makes you wonder how they came up to some of these conclusions. But apparently, like if radiation hits somewhere and it's kind of like radiation is like transparent and it can go through people, But when radiation flushes through, going through a body or even an animal's body or a tree or plants or anything, what it does is it can pull out like the DNA of whatever else was passing through. So like, in other words, if this gush of radiation, although you can't see it, it goes whoosh, and it can pass through objects and animals and trees, and something might have mold on it or things like that, and it tends to like push, like it can take out like the DNA from those whatever cells that it passes through, and even through a human. So if it goes like passes through human to human, a dog to human, maybe something that's diseased, maybe something that's moldy. We're even talking, manure. It could be, feces. It could be anything. And it whooshes through and it passes through everything that's in front of it. So these DNA, if I'm correct, that's what it would be. Like the DNA, like these can get flushed through everything it's passing through. So what it said in the encyclopedia is, these are older encyclopedias, and it said that radiation, not only does it cause illness and all this other side effects, it can also cause cannibalism. Isn't that weird? So that struck me when it said that, because when I was reading that, I thought about the dream. Because like I say, they weren't like zombie types, whatever, like The Walking Dead. They were, though, would eat people. And there was something deranged about them. There was something deranged about them. Like they were deranged. Like their mentality was deranged. Okay? And I had to stay away in the dream, back to the dream, I had to stay away, like for them not to see me, because I knew they would eat people. That's kind of what I remembered. I didn't think cannibalism, but I thought stay away. They'll try and eat me. And, but they were more like deranged people. And I think it was a couple of men. It could have been 3. They're just walking around, somewhat deranged, It wasn't exactly like they were looking for food or somebody to eat, but if they would have spotted me, that would have been what they would have done, or that's what I felt. So anyway, I'm kind of like hiding. Too, so that they don't notice me. And I realized I need to stay out of their view. Then, as like I say, it's like a main street, that's passing by probably some county highway or who knows what. And I hear like a motorcycle, like coming like from a distance, sort of, like a motorcycle. And I'm thinking like, oh, there's a motorcycle coming, And as the motorcycle is coming, and as I'm looking and I see, like a lady, it was a woman on a motorcycle. And it wasn't like a skinny motorcycle. It was kind of like somewhat of a little bit heavy duty motorcycle. And like she's coming through like slowly. And I could tell that she's going at a speed where she doesn't want to zip through, but she's also like possibly leery, and she's just passing through that road or through that town. And I see her, and once I see her like coming closer, and I realize, well, she can drive a motorcycle, she must be normal somehow. And I right away, I take a chance. I don't know where those men are. I really don't know where they're at. Maybe they moved a little further or something. I don't know where they're at. I just don't want them to see me. But as she's coming by, and I can hear like the motorcycle making motorcycle sounds, like as it's coming through, and I go, hey, I don't scream, but I want her to see me. And I go out kind of like somewhat to the sidewalk, and I take a chance, and I say, hey, I said, like, give me a ride or take me with you, something like that. Okay. And she looked like, where'd you come from? And she looks, and I said, like, I was like in a begging mode, like, please take me with you, please. Like, I don't remember the words because it's been so long, but I know I was in a state of desperation and I needed to get out of there. And so she kind of looks at me, And fortunately, she's got some compassion left, but she's still leery. She's leery. And then I make her somewhat concerned, like, gee, why do you want to get out of here so badly? So, and she just looks at me and she tells me, and she kind of like slows down on the motorcycle, to a much lower pace. And she says, I'm not going to stop. In other words, if you want to ride, you better hop on. You better hop on, because, like, in other words, I'm not going to stop this motorcycle. I'm just going to, like, slow down, like, just enough for you to get on. And she just tells me that, like, I'm not going to stop. And so she somewhat slows down, and I make a break for it. So she's like, it's just like a regular, I don't know, looks like a county highway of some type passing through that town. So it's not real wide. And I run for it and hurry up and get on the back of the motorcycle. I hurry up and get on the back of the motorcycle. And I dodged so fast to get on that motorcycle to get the heck out of there, because that was my chance to get the heck out of this town. I don't know if I was from there or anything. I just knew I needed to get out of there. There was nothing happening there. I don't know where a lot of people were, other than those deranged people. And so I hop on the motorcycle. I get on as quick as possible, and I turn, like, I just turn sideways, you know, like, and I notice there's a young boy. This is the weird thing. I see, like, looks like a 14-year-old boy standing at the side of the sidewalk right where I was. And he was looked like a 14-year-old boy, very skinny, kind of forlorn looking. And he had like something, he was so skinny, because I guess lack of food. And he had like something, I don't know what it was, that he used to use as a belt, because like he needed, like, I don't know if it was a rope or what it was that he was holding to keep his pants up. That's how he was very skinny. And it was weird, because when I looked at him, like I knew he was my spirit or something, like that's who I was. So although I feel like this is who I am, in my dream, it was me. But when I looked, it was a 14-year-old boy, like really skinny, forlorn, and still there at the edge of the sidewalk. And it's kind of weird, because when I had like took a leap, like went so fast to get on that motorcycle and hurry up and get on, it was like I left my soul there or something. And I glanced at this boy and I was like, is that me? Is that me? And then another weird thing is that I had like this creature of some sort, and I would call it like an imp or something. And it looks something similar to that, I can't remember what he's called, like on the Lord of the Rings, you know, the one that was always saying, my precious, and like that, like like a demon, like similar to that, like monkey. Now I get what they call monkey on your back. And it was like, it didn't have that much hair. It had kind of like muscular arms, because it was holding on to me, like it was clinging on to me. And then it had like weaker, skinny legs, and it was probably like the size of I don't know, like a chimp or something, like a smaller chimp. And she turns around and she looks and she says, "What's that on your back?" And I look and I notice it's like face right here, and it's like clinging to me. And I told her, "Oh, that's my smoking addiction." And well, she's going, you know, the motorcycle is still going. And supposedly, you know, I'm able to, that's what I'm thinking, you know, like a movie where you don't see the ending of it. But my guess is that I was able to leave that town. And I always wondered about that, like when I leaped so fast and ran so fast, it was like I left my soul there or something. And when I looked, it looked like a 14-year-old, very skinny boy that looked kind of forlorn and was needed to get out of there, and was using something to hold his pants up because he was very skinny. So there was starvation or something going on. And then that weird thing, you know, maybe, you know, he was a smoker, didn't have cigarettes or something, but the addiction was there, but you can see it in the spirit. And like in the dream, like I wasn't really afraid of it or something, but when I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's my smoking addiction. Like, that was weird. Anyway, I've seen movies and stuff, and the only thing I can think is like, since that wasn't me, and it turned out to be a 14-year-old boy, that's like, it just kind of mind boggled me. Like, very, like, I thought about that dream for a long time. Like, am I seeing something in the future? And I was just not really me. That wasn't really me there, but I was just like possibly in somebody else's body, or experiencing what somebody else was experiencing or would experience, and something to that measure. So, but I knew that it wasn't something that had happened before, although things like that have happened before in the past and in history, like in Russia and starvation and all kinds of stuff. No, like in my dream, it was in the future. It was in the future, but I looked and I thought, am I a starving 14-year-old boy? It was crazy. But it did feel very futuristic. And that's all I got to say about that dream. Okay? And possibly the effects of radiation and causing people to be like deranged, and supposedly, according to the encyclopedias about radiation and its side effects, you know, cannibalism is one of the side effects, or could be one of the side effects, and how DNA can, you know, whishes through everything. And that's a lot of what causes these defects. All right, so something to think about. Thanks for listening. Subscribe. I have a lot more dreams and other things to talk about. You know, probably not having to do with dreams, but about all of us as a collective.